Hello boys and girls, Lord Hawkeye here again. This is a video response partially to Mundane Matt's stance about the recent decision by Nintendo to claim the profits reaped by Let's Play videos, and a general commentary about copyright as a whole because while I've enjoyed a lot of his videos, I think he's really lost his way on this one. Okay, first, let's just get rid of the just plain silly arguments. He starts the video explaining why Nintendo's actions are completely legal. This is both an appeal to authority and a red herring. Law does not dictate morality, Matt. You know this yourself as someone who has criticized the law yourself on numerous occasions. Second, nobody is arguing Nintendo's actions is illegal. No one's saying what they're doing is illegal. Their argument is one of principle. Like, Anita Sarkeesian's actions are legal. It didn't stop you from criticizing her. And if someone pointed out that they're legal, would that sway you in any way? No, of course not, because your criticism of her are of principle, not legality. Savvy? Second, really, enough with the elitist, get a real job, lol, nonsense. I don't recall anyone dying and making you the authority on that. If you're doing something that people voluntarily pay you for, it's a job. Pure and simple. Whining that it's not a real job just makes you look like a bitter child, and I really think that's beneath you. Right, with that out of the way, here's the reasons why Nintendo's actions and copyright in general are bogus. 1. Copyright law does not work as intended. If you honestly think, say, if some artist was making something and then some big company came in and stole the idea, if you seriously think copyright law would swoop in and save the day, you are living in a dream world. Disney's The Lion King. It was nicked from an anime called Kimba the White Lion. Do you see Disney being taken down for that? I don't. All the evidence is right there, and yet the copyright police sit on their thumbs. Go to crack.com and run a search on the word ripoff. The list goes on and on. Very few ever faced any ill consequence for profiting on the work of others. So, tell me, what exactly are the politicians accomplishing by spending your tax money on this? Well, that just brings us to number 2. Copyright lobbyists had ulterior motives. The problem here is that Matt is judging copyright law merely by what it says, and well, how can you tell when a politician's lying? You only need to ask one simple question. Who actually lobbied for copyright laws? You don't even have to look it up. Think about it. Would the average artist consider it worth their while to pursue lengthy and costly legislation with uncertain result? No, there's really no evidence of that. Maybe the politicians acted on self-initiative. Really? Do politicians have a reputation for being receptive to the needs of the public? Is the tax code so complex because people want it to be? Would politicians risk getting special interests angry at them to solve a problem that the artists weren't really complaining about? No, that really makes no sense either. Now say you're some big publishing company who'd like to keep their competition down. Would you consider it worth your while to lobby for copyright laws that would enable you to legally shut down competitors by hoarding copyright licenses and shutting down anyone who does something even remotely similar to you? Hell yeah. You want more proof? Who actually owns most copyrights? Is it the artists themselves? No, they're hoarded by publishers. And you're going to argue that copyright is needed to protect the creators? How superstitious can you get? This is the big elephant in the room that copyright supporters love to avoid. They claim copyright is so necessary, and yet they can't seem to cite many cases of artists legitimately using it to stop ripoffs who seem to freely spring up all the time anyway. Meanwhile, I can name you dozens upon dozens of cases of copyright being used to stifle competition. You tell me, do you really think the people who pushed for these laws had noble intentions? Really? Number 3. The danger of piracy and copying is grossly overstated. For all the mewling about how piracy and copying is going to destroy the industry, there's something strangely missing from the equation. Our good old friend, evidence. The truth is, nobody has ever produced any solid evidence that copying or piracy negatively impacts the sale of the original artist. Remember my example of the Lion King ripping off Simba the White Lion? So the Lion King made a bunch of money. Is that money Kimba would have made if the Lion King didn't exist? No. Kimbo was a small-time movie and it had no plans to be anything but. In fact, I would argue that a lot of people who heard about the connection went to go check out Kimbo the White Lion in response. George Lucas can attest to this. He used to go after people who copied and parodied his work until he smartened up and realized, hey, these guys are advertising my work in ways that I never could. Now, he actively encourages it. Even piracy, according to all studies, including those done by the entertainment industry itself, I might add, have found that its impact on the industry is at worst a wash, generates a sale for every sale lost, and in many cases it actually increases sales. Seriously, look as hard as you are able to. You will not find one solid study proving that copying and piracy has any negative impact. It's just asserted and accepted as a foregone conclusion. Think about it. Art existed as long as civilization itself. Copyright has only existed for a few decades. Is it really believable to claim that art can't thrive without copyright laws? And just a disclaimer before anyone rushes off to their keyboards, I do not engage in piracy and copying myself, so anyone wanting to throw that accusation out, don't bother, you're going to be disappointed. But, say you're not convinced. Consider this. Number 4. Nintendo's arguments overlook one very crucial fact. Nintendo claims that they should get all the money brought in by Let's Players because they use their games. Can anyone with any economic know-how spot the flawed assumption made here? This claim asserts that the value generated by a Let's Play video is solely due to the game and not the player itself. Otherwise, Nintendo would not claim that they're entitled to all the money. If you think the player doesn't generate any value to his video, do this. Go do a Let's Play of Amnesia: The Dark Descent with no commentary and see how well you do compared to, say, PewDiePie's. I'm pretty close that you wouldn't even come close to the number of hits his has. And there you see the problem. People don't watch PewDiePie for the games he plays, they watch the videos for him. They find him entertaining, and he's the reason they watch him. He's an entertainer, and the games are just props. Nintendo's claim is like saying that the company who makes chessboards should get a cut from televised chess tournaments, even though they never lifted a finger to actually make the tournament happen. No, the money that they paid for the chessboard, that's their cut. That's it. And Nintendo's cut is the cost of the game. That's it. That's all. Trying to demand more when at no point was that ever agreed upon is a blatant bait and switch. Plus, even if you aren't convinced, the system that Nintendo put in place to enforce this policy is a complete scattershot that makes no distinction between a Let's Player and a reviewer. Many have been nailed before, and that's where the other problem comes into play. These sorts of policies very rapidly degenerate into a way to silence bad press. Oh, you gave a bad review of my game? Well, I'm going to claim copyright and take down your video. It's happened before. I'm putting a link below that Totalbiscuit did on the subject, and I think you'll find very educational. Yes, he also naively thinks copyright is a noble purpose, but his argument against what Nintendo's doing is very sound and worth a listen. Also included is a link to a book by Stefan Kinsella, which gives a very comprehensive argument against the idea of intellectual property. It's only about 70 pages, well worth a read in my opinion. And that about covers it. Until next time, be aware and be wise.